Hello, welcome to part 2 of this video where I'm talking about reduced vowels. In the last video we talked about the two main reduced vowels, silver pin I and cup of mustard and then also this purple shirt, which some people say is not really a vowel, but it definitely takes the place of vowels in English words, and it's sort of in its own category. Okay, so we talked about how to make these sounds, and go ahead and watch that video if you don't know or you don't remember how to make these sounds at all. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about where these sounds usually appear. So some vowels are always reduced, meaning you see an O, but you don't hear O, you hear right? That's the schwa, the upside down E, the cup of mustard sound. And in a long word, like this word here, some vowels are always reduced, and they're always reduced every time you hear that word. Right? Every time you say that word, the same vowels will be reduced. So you might see, you might hear someone say this word, and you can pick out which syllables are stressed, which syllables are heavy, and usually those ones will have a very clear, loud vowel. In this word international, again, I'm American, so I say international, you hear the third syllable much more clearly than the other ones, and that's the stressed syllable, international. There are some patterns in English as to which syllables are stressed, but in any long word, there will always be at least one stressed syllable, and usually the other ones are just reduced vowel sounds, so they will get so small you almost don't hear them at all. So international looks like this. You might think of the stress as falling mainly on the third syllable, but you also hear the first syllable pretty clearly in. Now that vowel is already silver pin just because it's in short I sound. The second one is it's an R sound, which is the purple shirt sound. So that stays the same. It doesn't reduce into something else. The third one, because it's the stressed syllable, it keeps its sound. It keeps the heavy black cat okay, the short A that we use in American English for words like this. Now the last two, these two are unstressed, and they both get the same reduced sound, which is schwa. Schwa is the reduced cup of mustard sound. Now, what's important about this is that this word will always have these two syllables pronounced this way. A fluent speaker never says international, okay, unless they're trying to speak another language. So if you pronounce this, like maybe you think you're being careful if you say international, you're actually just saying it wrong, or at least not the way you want to. If you want to sound like a natural English speaker from North America, these have to be reduced, right? These have to be schwas. They have to be international, okay? So, I'm not trying to show you an advertisement, but I'm trying to show you a dictionary page. And when you look up a word, especially a word with more than one syllable, you can actually see where the reduced vowels are because, again, those reduced vowels are always there. So in the word station, if I look up the word on dictionary.com, I see a schwa in the second half of the word. It says station. And that's upside down E again, is that sound we call schwa. Even if you use, there it is. Even if you use Google Translate will also show you where the reduced vowels are. And it's writing that long A in a different way, but you can see the upside down E, that's the schwa. That's because, again, in this word, that I-O-N, or I guess just the O-N, is always pronounced that way, okay? So that's a reduced vowel that's always there and always reduced, okay? So, but on the other hand, um, there are some cases where you see a reduced vowel and it's not because that word always has a reduced vowel. It's because of the role that that word is playing in a sentence, especially when that word is not very important to understanding the sentence. And these words are often what we call function words. They're words that are grammar but not so much meaning, or you can guess the meaning even if you didn't hear that word very clearly. They're often prepositions, words like to and from, or articles like and the, or auxiliary verbs. There aren't very many of these, but they include the modals like will and can. Excuse me. And then often these other verbs that often come before to. So before an infinitive like want or have or going. These often get reduced just because you can usually understand the sentence even if you don't hear them that clearly. So, in a sentence like this, the words that are less important to understand the meaning are the function words, and those are from and to, right? So if you ask me, where does this flight go? And I say, it goes from Tokyo to Beijing, right? You probably still understand what I meant, even if you didn't hear those words clearly. And in that case, I intentionally said them not clearly. So it goes from Tokyo to Beijing. So those two function words, from and to, they get reduced to from and to, or even Tokyo to Beijing. Okay, and that's a regular part of pronunciation in English for these kinds of words, the words that are more grammar than meaning. Okay. Okay. But we got some words that are very important. Goes is an important word. Tokyo is really important. If you ask me where this plane is going, and I say it goes from Osaka to Beijing, that's very different from going from Tokyo to Beijing, right? So that word's very important for understanding the sentence. And then these function words are the ones that usually get reduced. If you only hear goes Tokyo to Beijing, you still probably understand what I'm trying to say. So what's a little bit tricky is that what is a content word and what is a function word can depend on the situation, depend on the context. So if someone asked, it goes to Tokyo from Beijing, like they want to make sure that they understand what I said. They said, did you say it goes to Tokyo or from Tokyo? Now the words that are important to understand the sentence are from and to, because that makes it clear. That answers the person's question. Then the content words can change. So now I might say from with a bigger, not as reduced vowel, and the same for to. So I might say it goes from Tokyo to Beijing, because now the content words are those two words, from and to, right? They're very important for the person to understand what I'm saying. And it could even, it could change a variety of ways. So say if a person asked me, did you say you go from Tokyo to Beijing? Then the word it might actually become a very important part of that sentence. I might say, no, it goes from Tokyo to Beijing, right? So my point is just the difference between content and function words isn't that prepositions are always function words and nouns are always content words. It can depend on the situation, but in general, function words will get reduced and content words will not. Okay. So here's a little activity. A lot of you will know this song. It's We Are the Champions by Queen, or at least it's the beginning of it. And this section of the lyrics, the words to the song, has some reduced vowels. Like really any kind of speech in English will always have some reduced vowels, but this one has them too. So where do you think they are? In particular, I want you to look for the schwas. There are a lot of schwas in here. So a lot of the cup of mustard sounds, okay? So remember, function words like usually prepositions, usually articles, some kinds of personal pronouns like you often get reduced. And some parts of long words are always reduced. So have a look for those. You can pause me while you go look for them. So I'm going to give you the answers, assuming you paused and looked for them. Okay, so there are these function words. And here I'm including conjunctions like but and personal pronoun, possessive pronouns like my in the function words too. And the unstressed syllables in the longer words will be in these words after sentence, committed, mistakes, okay? So for example, in the word sentence, right, we hear a strong, clear vowel in the first half of that word, and the second half of that word, we hear something like ns, right, sentence, sentence. In any case, it's not sentence, right? So the second syllable in that word is reduced. Okay, so that's where the schwas could be. Now, if you actually listen to the way Freddie Mercury sings this, he doesn't reduce all the vowels because some of the vowels fall on notes that are hit pretty strong, and he sings them very clearly. Some of them aren't, and some of them are. For example, he says, "I paid my dues." He doesn't reduce the my in my dues. The vowel in but gets reduced a lot. The vowel in and does not, and it's just because of the melody that he's singing to. He emphasizes particular words. Okay, so but gets reduced into but committed, if you know this song. And the and does not. He says, and bad mistakes, right? So, okay. These are the ones that are reduced. So after just has a purple shirt in the second half of the word. Freddie Mercury is British. He would say this differently, but the yellow words here are the cup of mustard. So those are the sounds. And then there's just two silver pin sounds. So mistakes, mistakes. And then in my face, kicked in my face. That doesn't sound nice. Kicked in my face. So you don't hear, well, in is never pronounced with green P, but here it's I think an especially short version of silver pin. Okay, so let's give it a try. Please sing along if you can. I paid my dues time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed no crime. And bad mistakes, I've made a few. I've had my share of sand kicked in my face, and I've come through. I made a mistake, but okay, you get the point. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something from it. If you listen to your favorite music in English, and you listen for schwas, just reduced vowels, but especially the schwa, you'll start to hear it all over the place. If you listen to hip hop by any chance, hip hop, any one line in hip hop will have lots and lots of reduced vowels in it. So keep your ears open, okay? And I hope this helps. See you around.